Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all of our viewers. And assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to my guest today, Brother
Walaikum
Harun
salam.
Raja. How are you, Brother Harun?
Walaikum salam. Alhamdulillah, Bil Alameen. How are you, man?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good. I'm good. So, Alhamdulillah, I'm getting back onto the podcast. It's been almost a 2 month long hiatus. Some of it has obviously been, Alhamdulillah, I welcomed a new child. What's it called? We had a daughter named Sophia. But aside from that, I've had some guests cancel. But Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has hikmah and everything. But it's a great way to start off. We're kicking off quite literally with martial artist himself, Brother Harun Raja. Alhamdulillah, his story is I don't know the whole story, inshallah. Maybe we'll get to learn some more of the story today. But whatever I've read and whatever he's told me, alhamdulillah, it's a story which is inspiring for all of us. And the purpose of this podcast from the beginning was to tell the stories and answer questions that people, need to inspire themselves to do better as members of society, especially as Muslim members of society. So a lot of times we come across stories of people who maybe have faced adversity, who maybe have alternative career paths, and they are good contributing members of society, such as Brother Harun Raja. Maybe he might not like the praise, but inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hide whatever faults that we both have by means of this praise.
Ameen.
And
Ameen. Ameen.
so I'm not going to get into all the details. Inshallah, I want him to talk about it a little bit more. He runs a martial arts academy, which some people would call a gym. He has a bunch of titles which I would completely butcher if I tried to say them. I just call him Master Uguay, out of respect. If anybody has watched Kung Fu Panda, they know Master Uguay was the turtle, very experienced in the arts. So Brother Harun is comes from a Pakistani background, but Alhamdulillah, he operates a gym and a martial arts academy, which is a very not a normal thing in Desi society. And it's really impressive. He lost his mother to cancer at a very young age, and he also himself battled cancer, and alhamdulillah has come back stronger than before. He's still operating his gym, and I believe you operated your gym throughout the course of your cancer as well, right?
Yes, I did.
Alhamdulillah. So it's amazing. And myself being a person who lost his mother, who's lost an aunt, and who's lost an uncle to cancer, I know how tough it can be on the person and how tough it can be on a person to lose somebody to cancer. So he's faced both battles, but still he's coming out strong. So Brother Harun Raja, is there anything you would like to let us know about yourself today?
Man, I think you were spot on the introduction, and it's right. I'm a turtle on the weekends, so this is a perfect analogy. So
He's a turtle on the weekends. So alhamdulillah.
yes,
But you try to keep yourself fit, obviously. Running a gym. I don't think a person can run a gym or a martial arts academy being out of shape or being, overweight or anything like that. So do you get, obviously this is a podcast with a little bit of a spiritual theme. How does this play also into your spirituality, staying in this good shape? How does it help you?
I think if Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I think if we go back to a lot of the stories of the Sahaba, a lot of the stories of our ancestors. I mean, if you will, kept up with this lifestyle and made this part of the ibadah, made this part of the worship. I think somewhere along the line, we as a society, especially I think our families immigrating to this country, primarily for a better life, but with the primary focus of, a lot of them chasing the dollar and maybe not so much as Dean being the priority when they came to this country. We've gotten to a lifestyle where we focus on just making ends meet and then doing what we consider the bare minimum as Muslims, and then putting everything else on the back burner, and then waiting until we're quite old or we get that shock of going to the hospital because something happened to our health, and then we're going to go ahead and take a turn on our health and fitness. But by then, it may be a little bit too late. What inspired me growing up was, first of all, um, my mother, may Allah, great Jannah. I mean,
Ameen,
um,
ameen, ameen.
and all who've suffered from this pandemic, all who've died this past year. Um, she was a big Bruce Lee fan, so when she had a son, my fate was sealed. She already knew what I wanted to do, and at 5 years old, she started me in the martial arts.
Wow.
And so it was forced upon. At first, it was actually martial arts, then homework last. She was pretty hardcore, but in hindsight, I love her and I thank her to death for it. Um, then, yeah, 10 years old, I was slowly starting to understand my left from my right. Okay, so I started liking, and of course, her untimely death when I was 12 propelled me even further to continue in her legacy, the martial arts. Um, Through that is when I started to research a little bit about how I could make a connection to this and tie it into my faith. Why did my mother die? What is akhirah? What is jannah? What is nar? I don't have a mother to guide me and to teach me. And at that time, my family, again, Dean was not a priority. So I would learn from, at that time, just any CD-ROM you could pick up of any lectures, but back in the day, you had a whole case of CDs. You put it on the top dashboard of your car, right? Okay, I still have some of those. Those are gold. And then of course through the mashayikh that we used to get to the masjid, and I came across the lives of the prophets, and I came across the lives of the Sahaba, and how people like Omar, Umar bin Khattab, radiallahu anhu, Khalid bin Walid, some of these greats who, you know, they totally tied their face into the warrior mindset and the warrior lifestyle. And there you go, the light bulb went off in my head, and I said, okay, now I know how I can do this and make faith be in the driver's seat of this career. And that was it. That's all I needed to hear. We didn't have any Khabibs growing up. We didn't have any Muhammad Ali's growing up. So, especially in our line of work, we didn't really have a role model to look up to. So, just the feel of the hardship of after my mom passed away, plus her wanting to continue to probably continue for me to do this in a legacy, plus 9/11 was a big deal in good old South Carolina for me to really take this seriously and say, how can I give an identity to folks who think I'm whatever they see on TV and use it in a way where they'll judge my character and not how I look, and maybe change their hearts about Islam, maybe spark a conversation about it. So that's kind of how I tie the faith into it.
Wow. So your mother actually encouraged you to pursue this path in a way, and that's mashallah. That's
Yes.
amazing. That's amazing. Alhamdulillah, you operate a martial arts academy, um, and alhamdulillah, I understand you have a lot of students. Young, middle age, older, doesn't matter. Even on your website, it says. There's a question, the question answer session, the frequently asked questions. There's the adult section and the children's section. In the adult section, it asks, "Am I too old to start?" And it says over there, there's, essentially the answer is no, there's no age. You can join
Right.
whenever you want.
Right. Absolutely. And my instructors are a testament to that. The one in particular, you and I were having a conversation with when I sent you the picture, the man who brought Muay Thai to the United States. He's got
Yeah.
to be in his mid 70s with COVID and everything. He's still going around teaching seminars. Bruce Lee's protege, who was the previous podcast that you were listening to,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
uh, that is a direct student of Bruce Lee. His name is Dan Inosanto. He's
Wow.
86, still running the
He's
academy.
86.
86 years old, and you can still look up videos of him teaching seminars. It is amazing. It is
Wow.
amazing. And when you
That
see
was the
men
guy
like this,
interviewing you?
so we're instructors under that man,
Okay.
and
Okay.
the martial art he teaches us was
Okay.
what the topic of discussion was. But no, not that gentleman. No, he's
Okay. Okay.
considered
Okay.
like an older kung fu brother. No, that's Dwight Woods. He's a great guy. Um,
Okay.
but when you look at these instructors and you look at them continuing to do what they do, and their age, you simply have no excuse. I mean, you don't have any excuse, and I think it's a mindset
Yeah.
more than it is a number. I really do think
Okay.
when it comes to age, yeah, absolutely.
So one of the things which you said was after 9/11, you basically had to, in a way, you were saying, sell yourself or show people that this is not what we are. This is not who we are. Where in the face of Islam or Muslims, it immediately becomes that case that Muslims are, the bad apples. And I read a review, a Google review. There's only one bad review for Raja Martial Arts Academy, and which is, it's near my church and I don't know what it is. And you replied, please come in.
Yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. I don't. So in our business part, we have three churches. I know all of them because I'm one of the oldest businesses within that business part. and I get along with everybody. I'm not quite sure which church he's talking about because we've had a smaller location in that business
Yeah,
park. Then, alhamdulillah, we moved to a 5,000 square facility, which we're
mashallah.
currently are today. On that strip of the 5,000 square foot facility, I don't know of a church, so I don't know what he's talking about. But I think it had to do with a previous location,
Oh,
which
okay.
was next to a church, and it was cool because the joke would be, we would get people who were actually coming in for the church, and they're like, "Well, wait a minute, I think I'm in the wrong place." I was like, "No, no, no! Like, punching and kicking is a form of worship too. We're just like, we're beating each other up, believing in each other and whatnot." And I'd maybe sell it to some of them, and someone would be like, "No, I'm in the wrong place. I meant to go to the next the next location." So, but yeah, I saw that too. I thought that was kind of funny. It's all funny to me at this point.
So there's actually a question for you. Brother Ruffy is asking, what is Harun's favorite form of martial arts?
Yeah, this is a question I get a lot, and I always give a generic answer. My favorite is whatever works. I was brought up in a school that taught take as many martial arts as you can, just like you in anthropology, you take many courses. So I have a very broad mindset, and I don't. I like specific arts for specific reasons, but I can't generalize and give one. I'll give you the I'll give you Bruce Lee's answer to this question when he got it. He says, the way of no way, or the art of fighting without fighting. So I can't, that's my favorite one. But no, I really don't have a favorite. I tell people generally I'm an MMA school, mixed martial arts, as in the acronym. So I love them all. I really do. I'm still pursuing them until this day. And I never stop training. I never stop learning. I consider myself a white belt. I'm always learning, always hungry for knowledge, man. I think if you have that kind of drive, you'll never stop learning. You'll never stop growing. So
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So
So my question is, I want you to elaborate a little bit more about the race, the image. You are Harun Raja, mashallah. You have a beard. Everybody clearly knows you're a Muslim. How does that play positively? How does that play negatively? Um, Obviously, alhamdulillah, you're operating a successful business. Allah put more and more barakah in it.
yeah,
But
man. Just,
the adversity will be there at times. So could
yeah,
you elaborate a little about the positives?
yeah. The I tend to kind of have the glasses on of only seeing the positives, even when there are situations that come up and are negative. And I think the background on that is just, I guess all us fighters are really crazy. Like we're already doing something, especially the ones who compete. Like we were
Yeah,
talking about Kareem and Ferris and those guys.
yeah,
When you go into a cage, when you go into a ring, you're doing something that 99.9% of an average human being in this generation, in this day and age, would not want to do. So when you come out of that without sounding very arrogant and bragging or anything, everything else seems very minuscule. Everything else seems very minute. Even petty arguments, masjid politics, you name it. Like it all
yeah.
just seems very like guys, why are we fighting over this? Like it doesn't make any sense. So with that kind of a mindset, um, I don't see a lot of negatives. Even when someone else has to point out to me, I think that guy was trying to take a jab at you, or I think that guy was trying to actually prove a point. I'm like, oh really? Oh man, I thought he just wanted to join. Like I don't see it. My wife has to point these things out. And alhamdulillah, I don't really see any negatives. A lot of the negatives happen probably in high school, um, growing up sophomore in high school, and then 9/11 happened. So yeah, the confrontations, even then, I would say those were the positives, because with the confrontations that I had, there was always a conversation spark after it, both verbally and unfortunately physically as well. Any confrontation that I had, I learned a long time ago, you can be the best boxer ever. You're never going to change the person unless you can penetrate right here, their heart. And I
Wow.
learned that from every confrontation, no matter what. If you can penetrate their heart somehow, whether through dialogue or through your actions, or unfortunately, if you have to throw down, you know, that's the real takeaway. That's the real key. So for me, it was the negatives that were the positives. Um, and then inevitably they become my friend, they become my student. There's so many icebreakers that I've had where I've had a client, and all they know is South Carolina as the world map. That's it. They don't know anything else, and whatever news channel and radio station that they choose to listen to. And this is around the 9/11 era. Saw me praying, or maybe saw Allah written in calligraphy, similar to the poster you have behind you. I have one
Yeah,
of those in my gym. It's
mashallah.
like this is the conversation. It's like, Raja. I was like, yes, sir. Man, I didn't know you were one of those Muslims. Yeah, 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 yeah. Why? What's up? Man, I just, because on TV I see them with a machine gun and a towel on their head and whatnot. And I'm like, dude, if I saw one of them, I'd knock them out because I'd be scared as them. I'd be scared as heck from them. So you let me know when you see one of those crazies, because that's not me, and I've never met anyone like that. And even through humor and something like that, there you go. The ice is broken, and you may
Yeah.
have he may have taken something away from it. So for me, a lot of the confrontations and the negatives have been the positives.
Yeah, wow, that's great. I think this is a friend of yours, maybe. The Welch martial arts experience. They're asking,
Yeah,
what is your favorite pre-training meal?
my favorite. Say it again.
Favorite pre-training meal.
Okay, because I'm not on the same level as Mr. Welsh. That's why he's stayed the same size and ripped and in shape for the longest time that I met him. Uh, my favorite pre-training meal is black coffee. That's it.
Black
If I
coffee.
drink that, I am a very nice person to be around with, and that is the what I call unleaded fuel for my body. So
Really?
I'll drink that, and I'm good to go. But yeah, usually a protein bar, a protein shake. Is something that I eat before going into a workout or before going into teaching. And then I've got a couple of because of cancer and whatnot. I had to reevaluate a lot of the stuff I was putting in my body. So I've got a couple of supplements, some protein bars and protein shakes, super clean, non-GMO, soy-free, that I take between training and also before I teach, because it's just hard to have a meal before doing these kinds of activities.
So
So
so so
what's
let
up,
me ask
Tuli?
you. So let me ask you, do you participate in eating biryani?
You don't want to know what I just said right now. So
Oh,
okay.
okay. Biryani with aloo or without aloo?
Any man, if it's carbs, which is what biryani is, I'm in heaven. It could
Okay.
be, and you name it, brother. You make it, and I'll eat it, man. No problem.
Okay.
Um, I um, I didn't take my diet seriously, and I think that, along with maybe something hereditary, had something to do with me getting cancer. Allah alam, I'm not
Yeah,
sure. Allah knows best. Since then,
absolutely.
of course, I've reevaluated a lot of my diet, and what I kind of do is I'll do 5 good hardcore days of eating clean, one of the days of intermittent fasting, and then one
Right.
of the days of just you can eat whatever you want and reward yourself. And I think it's good to do that for a mental reason too. Otherwise, you'll just go crazy. So today was one of those days where I just ate whatever I want. We came back from a local Chinese restaurant that we like a lot, and there
Hmm.
was rice involved. So yeah, I will tear up some biryani. My wife can hook up a real mean one, and I'm down for whatever. I'm desi at the end of the day, so I have a craving for our food, but I also know to only eat our food whenever I'm not dieting. So
Yeah, alhamdulillah,
yeah,
alhamdulillah, that's good.
alhamdulillah, yeah.
So as far as I'll leave this question for the end. The question I want to leave for the end is in regards to your business, the expansion, and how to encourage our community, the Muslim and Desi community, to participate in the martial arts. I'll leave that for the end. Now I want
Okay.
to jump into something that's really heartfelt for yourself and for myself, which is the discussion on cancer. You
Yes.
saw your mother go through cancer.
Yes.
Almost a year ago, I think a year ago, on maybe the same date or the same week, I had a discussion with a friend who also lost his mother to cancer. So cancer, he studied with me in what's it called, Atlanta, when we were doing Hifz. Alhamdulillah. So we're both Hafiz. We became Hafiz together in the same
Mashallah.
year.
Mashallah.
His
Alhamdulillah.
mother passed away many years ago. So this, and you mentioned how her passing away and her encouragement really fueled you to become the martial artist you are. So tell me a little bit, tell us all a little bit about her and how she continues to fuel you. A little bit more details, because I saw my own mother. My mother only had cancer for 8 or 9 months, and within those 8 or 9 months, she went from being a completely healthy person to passing away, and it really
Absolutely.
completely teared apart at me. So, what is,
Absolutely.
as far as it goes with you, how does she continue to fuel you?
Um, yeah, um, her resilience, her composure, her strength when she has a 12-year-old just preteen, which is a crazy time to be in any child life, a 9-year-old daughter, and then she just they had to do a C-section to get my youngest sister out of her body prior to her dying. So, and she only spent 2 months, I think, with my youngest sister before she passed away. At that time, my youngest sister was preemie. The ring on your finger could fit around her wrist. That's how small she was. So, in all that, I can't recall much suffering. That's how much of a game face that my mother put on. Um, Not only that, she was still a mother to us. She still let us be under the assumption that everything was cool. It wasn't until after her death, in hindsight, and then hearing some of the stories about what she was really going through, that I comprehended just what exactly this woman has fought. And I don't believe that she lost it. I believe that she just went to go meet her maker, and I believe that that's the ultimate victory. So all that fueled me, and it's very weird. I think I don't even know if there's a psychological study done on this, but when a child faces the traumatic incident of losing their parents, personally for me, and I know maybe I think with some of my sisters too, memories start coming back as we get older. It's really weird. I don't know if there's any research on this, but it's so I start picking up on memories like, oh my gosh, yes, I do remember sparring and play fighting with my mom, or oh my gosh, yes, I do remember this and that later on after the fact. And I think that's those are really cool, and especially the dreams I have when she does occur in my dreams every now and then. But after that, when she had died, I had to wrestle with the fact that I have a lot of rage, I have a lot of anger, and my body is the only way I know to express my emotions. I'm not an intellectual. I'll be straight up and say that. I'm not. I couldn't find anything to turn to any other sport, but the fact that as 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 dumb as it sounds, I could hit people and get away with it, and it's a good way to fuel my energy. Martial arts was the drug I needed, and I'll say that to this day. Is after Islam, martial arts is the drug that I need. Even with cancer, even with other hardships that I had in my life, no matter what, the number one homie that always had my back was martial arts, and I could always find a bag or fuel to run to. Just whatever. It was always an activity that I could do to help me. So it was there at the time that I needed it, and yeah, that was really the inspiration my mother gave me.
Okay, and then that honestly, Harun, that was emotional for me. Uh, you can't see tears, but honestly, I have a few coming out. Hearing especially about your sister being born premature, your mother putting on the game face. My mother did that for me.
Yeah,
Obviously, I was much older,
yeah,
but losing a mother is truly, something you and I and other people who've lost a mother, especially from cancer. Cancer is a disease or is a sickness which rips at every fiber of their being. So it
absolutely,
really affects you. And then you
absolutely.
yourself, you went through cancer. And how long did you have the cancer? And then I know you said you've been in remission for 7 years. I think you said you
Yeah.
had cancer for 7 months or something, or I misunderstood.
So yeah, so the backstory of all that was I was
Uh-huh.
in Singapore,
Okay.
and I was training at a very intense Muay Thai gym over there.
Okay.
At the time, I was still married to my wife, and we just took a vacation there. And there's a gym I'm affiliated with, and I was training. And I know that that particular training session we didn't go too hard. So the fact that at 3 a.m. I felt like a knife was prodding inside of my left side of my gut was concerning. So we went to ER over there, checked it out. I checked into a urologist. Great medical system in South Asia, by the way. Awesome. They got me in right away. I just had to show my passport that said maybe you have epididymitis, which is a urinal infection or something like that. Happens. when guys wear a cup to protect their groin area in training, or maybe I just took a bad shot. I don't know. Allow them. That's fine. And one of the good bad things about me is I have a very high pain tolerance. It's good for some reasons, and then for some reasons it's not, because your body needs to be able to tell your brain, hey, something's wrong. Okay. Um, Went back to the States because the urologist in Singapore said go see a urologist in the States ASAP just to make sure everything's okay. And without going through too much detail, just my right testicle became as big as a grapefruit. I mean, almost this big. And me being a typical athlete thought, oh yeah, it's just a swollen muscle. It'll be fine. Well, I waited too long, and when I tried to book an appointment, the urologist had a waiting time. That also delayed it, and it ended up being a malign tumor in my right testicle. And after they did the surgery and got it out, unfortunately, it works like an elevator. So the more you wait, it's just similar to Lance Armstrong. So the more you wait, it'll rise up here. So it got up to here. That's your lymphatic system. So they said, I talked to an oncologist with a good friend of mine who's a doctor who had kids in my academy who knew what I was going through. And he said, hey, listen, go check this guy out. He worked on my dad. He's great. They said, hey, you're 28 years old. We can do two things. Number one, we can take it easy on you and let you go through light doses of chemo, but it's going to affect your business and you're not going to be able to live your lifestyle. Or number two, we're going to hit you as hard as we can with 3 types of chemotherapy drugs that'll knock you out and almost feel like death. But I know you're going to come out of it, and I'm going to do a maximum of 4 months in chemo. What do you say? And of course, the fighter in me chose the 3 months because the biggest heartache for me was somebody telling me I couldn't do what I could do as a career anymore, or I couldn't do any kind of athletic lifestyle anymore, because essentially your immune system is down so much. Someone does so much a sneeze on you, and that's it. You could be wiped out. But I took 3 months of chemotherapy from October 2015, November 2015, to December 2015. Round 1 and round 2, I was lying to my oncologist and still clocking into the gym, still working out, and still teaching. And I just told I told my staff, and my wife was monitoring me with every class just to make sure I didn't faint. I said, "Hey, listen, if I fall, somebody just pick me up." That's all I said. But I got to keep moving. I got to keep training. And my staff thought I was psycho, but they were cool. They really stepped up when I really didn't know much about staff development or anything like that. They really stepped up and helped me out. And round 3 felt almost like a coma. I was in and out of it real bad. So that's when my wife took it upon telling the staff, say, "Hey, he's not going anywhere. He's staying home for about 3 more weeks of this because it's bad." And alhamdulillah, a week after my last chemo session, it was New Year's 2016, and I have been wonderful ever since. So, yeah,
Alhamdulillah, that's mashallah, that's amazing. And honestly, that fighting spirit, I feel like even through the story, the fighting spirit is what pushed you through and kept pushing you through. Because chemo, when people take chemo, that aside from the cancer ripping the fibers apart, that chemo is brutal.
yeah,
And what you did,
yeah,
the 3 month chemo, that's especially brutal. So
yeah,
it had to take a fighter to keep going, to even keep training people, going to work and class and everything. That's tough. That's honestly
yeah,
not just because you're Harun Raja sitting in front of me, but honestly speaking, that's a real struggle and that's a real fight which you put to the cancer and which you put to the chemotherapy. My son is in the background. I know you
No,
can
you're
hear
good.
him.
You got my 2 are shouting in here, so that's no
Oh, okay.
problem.
Are
No,
they
it's no
so?
problem.
So what's it
You're
called?
absolutely right.
My
You're
son is my
100%
podcast
correct.
special guest.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Hey,
no,
buddy.
alhamdulillah, it's amazing, and I feel like I know you probably, I don't know how much you emphasize on this, but honestly speaking, for a lot of people who have cancer and who are taking chemotherapy or fighting cancer, just hearing this 2 to 3 minutes of how you fought the cancer, not everybody has, not everybody is a martial artist who can put up a fight like that, but just hearing how much you went through that period of time and still you fought through it, I think it would be really inspiring for a lot of people. And to see you today, alhamdulillah, you know, the physical state you're in, and how you keep yourself physically fit. It's just mashallah. It's amazing, man.
I agree with you 100%, brother, and thank you very much. I think everything is from our Creator. You know, everything is from
Absolutely.
Allah, and my faith definitely got real strong when that all happened too. And I when I was listening to you talk, and you were talking about inspiring others, I still go see my two very elderly nurses till this day. I'll just drive by the oncology office, pull over, clock in, and really just give them a big hug. They're two old ladies that'd be like your aunties, you know, and they were super sweet. And I remember, they would crack jokes to me saying, "Hey, look, we have a young buck with us today," and the way they try to normalize everything in a room where everyone was getting chemo at the same time, mostly elderly people, they just did it with such a comfort and humor that just kept me going. And yeah, I had a port that they actually put into your this vein right here. I would show it to you, but I actually had surgery where they took the port out beginning of this year, because after 7 years in remission, you don't need a port anymore. That's actually where they put the cancer chemotherapy in, because essentially they can't put it through your vein because it'll burn your vein. It's just that powerful. But yeah, it's funny. All my injuries and my knockouts, just I've been knocked out before, really like hurt. Chemo was like the sleep that I really needed. It's as weird as it sounds. It was more to me, not so much pain, but it was the sleep. I felt personally two things. Number one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, "Hey, calm down. You need to take a break. Here you go." Because I was going on all fumes. Bad diet, bad sleep. Um, you know, just got married. Well, we were married about 3, 4 years, and then, but still newlyweds phase, if you will. And number two, I felt I had a chance to take revenge for the one thing that killed my mother. So I beat it, and now I feel that I've avenged my mother in a weird, iconic way.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, Mr. Welch says, "My little champ says hello."
Hey, what's up, Aaron? His son is named Aaron. So I'm
Oh, okay.
Haroon, and he's Aaron.
Oh, okay. Same name, different
Yeah.
languages. It's awesome.
Yeah. What's up,
Um,
Aaron?
so what does Harun Raja do in his spare time? Going hiking or running through the woods or something like that. Does Harun Raja have any other extracurricular activities?
Things that don't involve me sweating. Let's
Yeah.
see. I play badminton. That's actually a second sport I'm really
Okay. We
hardcore
need to
about.
play. I love playing
Yeah,
badminton.
definitely. Okay, great. Yeah. I'm an active runner. When I'm not doing anything, I'm actually sitting in this room in my home that I've dedicated as a just a lounge area,
Yeah.
and catch up on I'm a big Arturo fan, so I catch up on my Turkish
Oh,
war
okay.
dramas. Play with my kids, man. That is my number one priority. They're just so funny. I love
Okay.
playing with them, and me and my wife are a foodie, so big connoisseurs of trying new restaurants out. And I
Okay.
play video games, but no one likes to play me in fighting video games because they claim I beat them all the time in Street Fighter and in Tekken. So that's it. That's all I do.
Is it? Are they just scared? If they beat you,
I
what
don't
will
know.
happen?
I just nah, man. I don't know what it is, man. But those are like everyone plays FIFA, Call of Duty. I'm like, nah, man. I just play all the fighting games, so no one ever comes to my house and plays me. So I don't know what it is, and I'm not into online gaming. So okay,
You're
yeah.
stuck.
So yeah, I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So business. This is something I feel like in our religion it's encouraged. Business is encouraged. Tijarat. It's
Yep.
encouraged. Alhamdulillah, you have a business. You're teaching people how to be fit. You're teaching people how to defend themselves. In certain cases, how to be offensive if they need to. Um, you know, uh, a good defense is the best offense. Obviously, if you can defend yourself, if anybody's trying to harm you, you got the upper hand already. Um,
Yes.
but what's it called? What business wise and image wise, what are your goals going forward? And what are your goals, especially for our Desi community, to educate them to the beautiful form of art that is martial arts, and to tell them how to be more fit? That we do have a problem. We love our biryanis and niharis, and what's it called, kheer and different things like that, which is
Hey man, we've got the best
truly
food in the world. We just let's just let's
truly
just
great
let's just throw it
food.
out there. We got the best food
Yeah,
in the world,
truly
man.
great food. But the problem is our food is not very healthy.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah,
So
therein
how,
lies the problem.
I know it's a very wordy question, but business wise, what are you wanting to do next? And what's it called? Education wise, for our Desi community or Muslim community at large, what are you wanting to do?
Um, we just marked our 12-year anniversary in August, alhamdulillah, and
Mashallah.
I can't believe we've came this far. I mean, even if you want to rewind back, the fact that I'm doing what it was considered a hobby, which is now passion, and making money off of it and having a risk is a dream. I mean, every day I wake up, it's not a job. Every day I wake up, it's fun. So I am very blessed with the lifestyle that I have. Um, and I would like to give that opportunity to other people who are in the field, but maybe going about it the wrong way. So I've recently done a couple of business consulting um, talks, podcasts, and just kind of going and friends asking me, maybe they would call me over for a seminar, which by the way is the second thing I want to try to pursue. But they'd call me over for a seminar and say, listen, I'm doing this, that, and the third. It's the pandemic. I can't seem to get members. I can't seem to get my clientele up. What am I doing wrong? And I don't have all the answers, but I'll say, well, here's a blueprint of what I did, which by the way, I got from someone who helped me out. And it's just a never ending cycle of always passing on knowledge to knowledge. So really just kind of helping other people to get to a point to where they can make a career out of. I kind of stay in my own lane. I think the martial arts health and fitness industry is kind of my lane. I don't really know too much about if my practices would help someone running a pizza place or anything else. Allah, I wish them all the best. But yeah, that's a kind of the line of work I'm trying to head towards. And then on top of that, teaching abroad. I've been invited to teach many seminars in the United States, essentially where my staff will run my academy for me, and then the host of that particular school will call me out, and I'll teach. And I really enjoy that. I love tapping in to just places, especially places who are not familiar with the martial arts that we do. But I would really love to tap in overseas. I would love to tap in to maybe our country, Pakistan, or
I
just
was about to
places
ask,
where,
Harun, you want to go to Pakistan?
right, you know what I mean? Places where maybe these opportunities are not presented, and maybe they don't have this opportunity. Maybe the infrastructure is not there. Maybe they don't live in the city and can't do that. And I would love to, you know, anything that,
In Pakistan, people have a divine love of Bruce Lee.
right.
They still play, the Bruce Lee movies. I don't know the names of them, but I remember the scene with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and I've even seen that in
Game of Death,
Pakistan.
Game of Death.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
you remember that movie, correct?
yeah.
Okay, so the guy he's fighting with the red sticks on one of the levels, do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's
I
Dan
I don't remember.
Inosanto. That's my instructor.
Oh. Oh,
Yeah,
that's your
that's him.
instructor.
Just a cool. That's a cool little fun fact. That's the 86-year-old I was just mentioning.
Wow. So
Yes,
so
that's it. Yeah.
so so even in like what they call hotels, like small street side restaurants, which are they have like a seating area over there, they have Bruce Lee movies playing all the time.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's clean content, it's not dirty in a way in a
Right.
conservative country,
Right.
and
Yes.
people enjoy it. It's something good, and Bruce Lee is seen as an icon in Pakistan even till today. You ask
Right.
kids who Bruce Lee is, they will know who Bruce Lee is in Pakistan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
so back in 2001, I was at a madrasa, or 2001, 2002. I was studying to become a hafiz, and they
Wow.
brought in he was a scholar, I believe, who actually had studied martial arts, and he came
Wow.
in to give classes, and they started the classes. And I don't remember what happened afterwards. I went there and I sat down for a few days, and he was teaching the kids, and the kids were ecstatic to
Yeah.
learn martial arts, and they were like, "Oh, I want to be the next Bruce Lee." So I think maybe we can talk with somebody and set up a week
Yeah.
long tour of Harun in Pakistan. That I think you'd
That'd be.
enjoy that.
I would very much enjoy that because then afterwards we can just smash all the food that they have over there, man. You know what I mean? So this would be great. This would be a win-win. As long as you're coming with me, I have no problem. Let's do it together.
Okay, that's
Okay.
that's that's it.
Deal.
Let me make a few
Deal.
calls. Let's make this happen.
Deal, deal,
Uh,
deal.
but so as far as education in our communities locally in the United States, I know we had spoke. Talha had spoke with you about doing a sisters thing, like classes where you would bring female instructors, and but I think COVID started at that time, so it kind of got
Right,
pushed back a little bit.
right.
But in general, is that something you want to pursue in our communities, where you want to raise the awareness that martial arts is something we should be pursuing?
Yes, and I don't want to sound cliche of saying it has to do with Islamophobia, because yes, it does exist. I'm not going
Yeah,
to throw it under the rug, but I would
yeah,
say even before that, again, if you look back in history, our men and women, they knew how to fight, they knew how to
yeah,
archery, they knew how to throw down if they needed to throw down, along with the rest of the roles that they played in society, whether a
yeah.
doctor, lawyer, wife, whatever. Yeah, they knew how to throw down. So I would love to reinstill that. And yes, because it's good to defend yourself, especially in a hostile time, hostile area where now the thing is Asian minorities are getting attacked now too. We happen to fall under that category as well. So I think yeah, it's definitely good. And if anything, it'll be the fuel that they'll need in their heart to have the confidence to be proud of who they are, no matter
A-
what they face. So if a
Absolutely.
person is training martial arts and they're getting thrown and punched and kicked every day, I don't think a verbal confrontation at a mall because you're wearing a headscarf, or a comment someone's going to make because you have a beard, really bother that person, because they know what they've been through. They know how they've trained
Yeah.
for things much worse than that. They're going to have the
Yeah.
confidence to face anything that comes their way. So,
So
absolutely.
so so you're saying that if we were to pursue the arts, that our mental state would be so strong that these words would really just be like, oh, whatever. You're not strong enough to physically do something. Mentally, nothing's gonna happen.
I'm saying that because I hang around a lot of fighters. I mean, when I say I'm a fighter, I am nothing compared to some of the people that I know. My career personally was just kickboxing at an amateur level. I never went pro, but the martial arts was always a fight of life. And
Yeah.
just hanging around some of these guys, I mean, even girls who I know. One of my girls who were fighting, she's 9 years old, had her second fight today. She won her kickboxing match. Just something like that is going to change these guys' mentalities. And when you talk to these guys, a lot of the reasons why guys like Khabib and all these guys are so humble is they know what they're capable of doing to the human body. Okay. They know what they're capable of dismantling. So they're not going to let any petty words or something get in their way. They'll be more like, shoe fly, don't bother me. I mean, it's not going to be a big deal. So I know it will, for sure. I know it'll instill
Okay.
some confidence. I mean, I get people who say that when they come to the academy day one, week one. Oh man, like I'm walking with a better posture. I ready to wake up in the morning and tackle the day, whatever it may be, and it may be that all they've done is a couple of trial classes, you know what I mean? But
Wow.
you've taken them out of their comfort zone. You've broken a routine, and that's forced them to deal with it and now build themselves up, break them down to build them up.
Wow. So my daughter, she's named Sophia, and I named her Sophia after
MashaAllah.
the aunt of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Yes.
And she was known to be a strong and very powerful figure. She was the 100% blood sister of Hazrat Hamza radiallahu anhu, who was known to be quite a warrior himself.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
and one time it said, in the stories of the Sahaba, it said about her son that her son was being teased by a man when he was very young, and he punched the
Mm,
man for no reason. The guy was bothering him, so he punched him. So her son came and he said that I punched this guy. Now he can't get up. So she went while she was pregnant. She went and she asked him what happened. He's like, "Oh, your son punched me, and I'm hurt now. I can't get up." So she picked this guy up and she dropped him off at his house and she asked him a question. She said, "When he punched you, did you perceive it as the punch of a child or the punch of a man?" And he said it
wow.
was like the punch of a man. She said, "That is how I've raised my son."
Wow.
so,
Wow.
so
Amazing. I mean,
and
what a
then
mother, right? I mean,
yeah.
what a mother. I tell you. Yeah.
So on another instance, when they were in Medina and there were some spies who got in, she asked one of the elderly. There were only women in the city. She asked one of the elderly
Yeah.
Sahaba companions to go defend and fight off this spy. So he said, I'm old. I'm sitting with all the women and children. What do you expect me to do? So she went out and took care of the spy herself with the
Wow,
club. She
wow.
knocked him out. So
I
for
tell you,
me, it's always been hearing her stories that she was a very imposing figure and a very powerful figure, that she didn't take crap.
she
So
didn't take crap, and look at the product of her
yeah,
work with her kids, with her
yeah,
nephews, with her nieces. I mean, it's the parents that have become the role models all of a sudden,
yeah,
not anyone
obviously.
else.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
So Harun,
absolutely.
what is some advice you have for us, for all of us?
Some advice.
Yeah. We always end off with advice.
Advice. With any area in particular, are you talking
Anything.
about
Anything you want to
anything?
give advice in, we want to listen.
You know, I got so many of these quotes, these things that I go by, and I plan on plastering them all over the gym because I feel
You
like
should.
these are like mantras that I use to guide my day, and I've got so many of them. But out of all of them um, that I like, I've always liked one that one of my particular instructors had said, and it's "Be soft as silk, strong as a diamond." And if
Mm,
you really dive into what that means, it is, you know, be strong and never show anger. But if you have to fight, be resolved. Take care of it. And if you dive even deeper to that, even if you're not a fighter, I think that's a good antidote to deal with this craziness we call dunya, we call life. Is that um, at the end of the day, um, especially with martial arts and dealing with confrontations and things like that all the time. And
mhm.
like I've taken you through a backstory of our how our brain works. We're in the cage and we're doing the extreme levels of confrontation, the extreme levels that once you come out of that cage, win or lose, everything starts to be more simple and more minute. That every other confrontation that you, as a brother or sister, may have, um, becomes insignificant. And even if you've never lived that kind of a lifestyle, I would say, it's we're all going to end up the same place at the end of the day, at the end of our lives, which is in the ground. So,
Absolutely.
is that confrontation, is that problem really worth worrying for the rest of your life, really worth taking on some stress, or really worth just ruining relationships? If you know inevitably we're all going to be shrouded up, we're all going to go in that hole. So, if that's the case, don't worry, be happy. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
problem is more minute than you're making it seem to be. And maybe the creator above is creating opportunities for you to learn from that struggle that you're going through in your life to, again, break you down to build you up into a more better person. So,
Wow.
and I kind of been saying this one lately because of the pandemic, because of the toll that COVID-19 has been taking lately. Not so much the disease itself, but just the mental problem of
Yeah.
a lot of people, within the Muslim community, definitely without the Muslim community, dealing with a lot of depression and things of staying cooped up at home and whatnot. And they just need a little mental boost. And that's kind of one thing that I've been living by, and I've used that for when I had cancer, and I've used that for when I lost my mom, and I've used that for any fight that I've had to approach, and that's always helped me. Be soft as silk, strong as a diamond.
Wow. This was honestly, I haven't done a podcast episode in about 2 months, or maybe more than 2 months. This was one of the deeper episodes I've done in a while, because obviously jumping into cancer, talking about personal struggle, hearing your personal struggle, then hearing about you, as you're the eldest out of your siblings.
I'm the eldest of three. I have two other younger sisters. Yes.
Okay, so you being the eldest, then telling me about 9-year old. Then you had, I think, what, 3, 4-year old?
Yeah. Yeah. So she was preemie when my mother passed away. She is now a junior at a college. She's 22 years old.
Wow,
Alhamdulillah.
mashallah. It's just
Smart
it's
kid.
it's amazing. And then obviously you probably helped play a part in, their upbringing to a certain extent,
I
being the
hope.
elder brother. Yeah.
I hope, inshallah. Yeah,
So
I hope.
it was an amazing journey hearing about you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless your mother with
Ameen.
Jannah. Bless
I
my
mean,
mother with Jannah, and bless all the
your
mothers
family
and
as well.
fathers
I
who passed
mean,
away with Jannah.
I mean,
And Jazakallah khair for your time. It was, really was a heartfelt experience for me just hearing that, especially when somebody goes through a struggle and they come out giving people even more of their time and knowledge. Is just amazing.
I want to actually kind of just end on one note real quick,
Yeah.
and that's kind of just to throw the mic back at you and the spotlight on you. As I really also, first of all, I appreciate you doing this. I think it's really cool now that a lot of people within the larger Muslim community are taking upon the fact to highlight just a lot of cool people within our ummah that
Yeah.
people can somehow maybe get some knowledge from and look up to, because there was a time and place where we didn't have people like that, and we'd had to seek knowledge from people outside of the community, and there's nothing wrong with that. But through what you're doing here and all the cool podcasts that I've listened to straight so far on the Straight Pathway podcast, it's been great. You've highlighted a lot of cool people, and you've given them a platform to maybe inspire somebody. And we live in a day and age now where, who knows, somebody could listen to half across the world, and through your podcast, they got the message through for something that maybe they're dealing with. So, the thanks, a lot of it goes to you for providing the channel and the pathway for us to walk on. So I really appreciate it. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much.
Jazakallah khair. And honestly speaking, one of the things which I struggle with after my mother's passing was being depressed, taking stress, anxiety, different things like that. And doing helping out with charity work really helped get over a lot of that.
Yeah.
Then the other thing which helped a lot, I'm going to be honest, is the podcast has actually helped a lot
Yeah.
because I get to see myself grow. I get to see myself learn more, and I get to see people interact with me who I never would have interacted with before would have never imagined to interact with in my life ever. Through the podcast, I've met people like that who have spiritually, physically, and mentally helped me grow as a person. And over the course of a year, my podcast has been on audio for 1 year now. Alhamdulillah, I've
Oh,
gotten
mashallah.
2,200 downloads as of today.
Wow.
I have a Urdu podcast which I launched last month. It's just hit 500 downloads today. So this
Wow.
podcasting has really helped me, and
Amazing.
it's helped me reach out to people all throughout the world. I actually interacted last year in November with a sheikh, with a scholar from Malawi, and
Wow.
we found out about a community that they had just built a little mosque for that community, and so the kids, they were going to get education, but they really didn't have like proper clothing or anything, and so what we
Right.
did is myself and my aunt from Michigan, we were able to provide clothing for all those kids, brand new clothing for all those kids.
Mashallah. Wow. Amazing.
Um, yeah, and
Amazing.
then we just don't help Muslim people. We help all people. It doesn't matter who they are, where they're from.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. This is great for anybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
We just happen to be Muslim, but
Yeah.
it's great for anybody.
Yeah.
This
So
podcast
like
and this
we
channel.
help now in Malawi, we help out people by food provisions, whether they're Muslim or not. Like
Right.
Qurbani, my cousin, he goes out there and he provides Qurbani meat to many, many communities who are completely Christian based communities,
That's
but they
awesome.
don't get meat all throughout the year. So
That's
this
amazing.
podcast has honestly become, it's not a money generating item, which I don't mind. Not everything has to generate money, but for
Sure.
me,
Sure.
it's generated the currency of the akhirah, of the hereafter, and that's
Yes.
more than enough for me.
That's spot on, man. You took
Yeah.
the words out of my mouth, and all I was gonna say was that I think that it's clearly the path that the creator wants you to be on, because look how well you're
Inshallah.
doing. And I think
Alhamdulillah.
just go
I
full
like
speed
that.
ahead, put the gear. I mean, put the pedal to the metal, go 100 miles an hour, man, because this is
Inshallah.
great. This is great what you're
Inshallah.
doing. And yeah, may Allah continue
Jazakallah
to
khair
bless
for
it some
joining me,
more and
Harun.
get people. Yeah, I mean, definitely.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just just saying that.
No,
Jazakallah
no, I
khair
was
for
just
joining.
gonna say, may you get people way better than me on this podcast, and definitely, may it grow even more, inshallah.
I think each and every guest story and input is just as important as the other guest. That's how I'd like
Yeah,
to put it. So
absolutely.
Jazakallah khair for joining me. Inshallah, I look forward to meeting you in person very soon. And
Yes,
inshallah, I look forward to coming down to Greenville and seeing the Raja Martial Arts Academy,
most welcome,
and
most welcome.
possibly getting in a game of badminton very soon.
All right, deal. Let's make it
Okay.
happen. Let's make
Okay,
it
inshallah.
happen.
Okay. Assalamu
Sounds
alaikum wa
good.
rahmatullahi wa
Walaikum
barakatuh.
salam to